I lost $6,500 to a scam in Mallorca. Not $65, not $650, $6,500 gone. The worst part is I saw the red flags and I still got. I'm Kayla, and today I'm telling you exactly what happened, how the scam worked, what I did after, the red flags I ignored that I'm going to tell you so that you don't do the same thing as me and that I will never miss again. If you've ever booked a vacation rental anywhere in the world, then you need to watch this video all the way until the end. Because what happened to me can happen to anyone, and I want to make sure that it doesn't happen to you. I became the designated trip planner for my friend group. I got this role because I'm pretty good at planning, but this time I messed up. So I had planned trips before, which again, I'm going to share more of those trips and itineraries on this channel. But this trip particularly was to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. So I chose this trip because all three destinations are close to one another, so it's easy to travel. And because we were going all this way, I'm like, hey, let's make it a 3-for-1. Initially, we had a larger group, but as y'all know, people drop out of trips all the time. So the budget should have increased, but it stayed the same. So I was in a pickle where I'm trying to do things within a specific budget. And I think that, looking back, that is how I ended up getting scammed because I was so diligent about finding things within budget when I should have just said, hey, this is how much it's going to be, and either you got to pay or you can't go. I know that now. So I use Airbnb all the time. I usually have pretty good luck on there. I haven't had a bad Airbnb experience. I'm someone that looks at all the pictures. I check the location on the map. I read the reviews. If it's anything honestly less than 4.9, I typically don't book it. And most of the time I'm wary about new listings, but this particular trip, this is for Mallorca in Spain. So I was looking for hotels. I was looking for a Hilton, honestly, and that will be relevant later on in the story. A lot of the villas that I was seeing were either old and run down or not as nice, or they were super nice and super expensive. So I was looking for something middle ground because I wanted everyone to stay together. I was looking for a villa with a pool, and I think I was looking for 4 or 5 bedrooms so that people could share. I came across this one and it looked great. I was like, oh, this is everything that I need, and it was the perfect price. I was like, this is too good to be true. First red flag. And I'm reading the description, and the description said, brand new villa, blah, blah, blah. You need to pay us. This is honestly my fault, but I'm making this video for those who need it. In the description, it said, send us an email and we'll give you the instructions on how to book the villa. Something about you can't book on Airbnb. Again, that is a major red flag. You should not leave the Airbnb platform website. Everything should be done through Airbnb. But again, it was saying like book through booking.com. So I was like, oh, that's fine. Booking.com is another reputable source that I use all the time. So I'm going to show you guys the email chain so you can see. But basically the instructions were to wire them the money, and after it was confirmed, they would send the instructions closer to the date. Don't ever wire anyone anything. And I think the reason that I was comfortable doing this is because we did a pizza cooking class in Positano where I had to wire the money for the cooking class, which I had communicated with the guy through email and felt comfortable enough. So in my mind, I was like, oh, this is just something that they do in Europe, but I was wrong. Again, another red flag, especially when it comes to accommodations. Side note, if you haven't seen The Beekeeper, go watch it, but I need him to go get these scammers. I use this platform called Wise, which I've used before, that you can wire international. But Wise does not give you your money back and they're not going to help you. So double, triple check before using apps like this or wiring anyone any money for anything. So what happened was they sent me an email. They're giving me all the instructions, all the information for the villa. I'm like, okay, great. They sent me another link through booking.com, but now that I'm looking back, it was a fake booking email. It wasn't actually from booking.com, but they had used the interface to make it look like it was booking. So then once I finally sent the money, they're asking me for, oh, you need to hurry up. Now they're telling me to hurry up because they have someone else in line. And I'm like, yo, I sent the money. Y'all need to wait until you get it. So I send them the money. They send me the confirmation. I'm like, great. Everything's cool. Everything's booked. This is how much it cost. And it was separated into the price by everyone that was attending on the trip. And everything else was booked. I was happy with this. This was the last thing that was on my list to book. This is the part where I actually noticed that it was a scam. And of course, it was the last leg of our trip because we had already been to Porto, Portugal. We had some mishaps there that I will talk about. Then we went to Morocco. So we're in Marrakesh right now. We're in the Riyadh. And I'm going through my email. I'm like, they haven't sent me the instructions to move in. So I emailed them, no response. Try to call, no response. So then I called the company that they said all of this was through. The company was like, we have no record of this, blah, blah, blah. So then I'm like, damn. At that point, I realized, okay, I got scammed. And I was sick. My chest fell into my heart because mainly I was like, well, where are we going to stay now? I was also embarrassed because I was like, this is all my fault. I did all the planning. I did all the booking. I made a mistake. So I had told one of my friends on the group what happened. I was like, I'm pretty sure I got scammed. So he's just like, okay, let's just find another Airbnb. We'll book it. We'll pay for it. No problem. So we're looking on Airbnb and none of the villas in the price point were anywhere close to how nice they were for the one that I booked. And again, I'm still looking for in a hotel, but all the hotels were either sold out or astronomically priced, again, because this is the day before we're going. So we book another Airbnb. When I tell y'all, it looked nothing like the pictures. Because the pictures, it looked like a quaint, vintage home. And I knew it was going to be older, but I was like, okay, it's quaint, it's cute, the furniture looks nice, it's fine. When we get there, this place looked like it had been abandoned, that it had not been cared for in years. And they probably didn't expect anyone to book it on Airbnb. And everyone was tiptoeing around the house. I was uncomfortable because I was like, this is not it. The pool was not clean. It smelled. There was some mold. And we had been tired because it was far. And at that point, I just started crying. And I told everyone what happened. I was like, I'm so sorry, but we got scammed. I booked this Airbnb at the last minute, trying to rectify the situation, but this is not it. And they were nice. They were nice. You should have told us, which I should have. Again, that's my bad. I'm taking responsibility. But again, I'm running you guys through what was going on through my mind and how this all occurred so that this cannot happen to anyone else. So we ended up going to this great restaurant. We checked with their hotel to see if they had any openings, and they were all sold out. So I had severe anxiety at this point, to the point where I started getting hives on my body because I was so anxious. I was like, we can't stay in this house. Like, it's not clean. This is not what we expected. So finally, the group had gotten together on finding a hotel. Y'all, why did a Hilton appear out of thin air? I'm still convinced that it appeared out of thin air because I looked specifically. I always check for a Hilton first because I'm a Hilton Honors member. Hilton, boom, right there. So at this point, we had been driving hours on end from place to place because everything was so far. So finally, we got to the Hilton. Everyone got their own room. I gave them the money back that they had initially paid. I had to book myself a new room. And then at this point, I'm arguing back and forth with the property manager for the second house that we booked. And long story short, I'm going back and forth in the messages saying this house does not look like the pictures at all. And they're trying to say, well, you already paid and checked in. And we're like, we didn't even sleep there. We didn't even stay at this place. You guys know that this property is not in the condition. And one thing my friend said that cracked me up, because we had been going back and forth. They didn't want to give us the money back. Which I don't know why. They needed to send someone to that property and they need to do major renovations and updates on that house. But that's neither here nor there. But he was like, this place is a far cry from the listing you have on Airbnb. So I think, what helped the situation was, one, we were able to get our money back from the second Airbnb after going back and forth with the owner. But at that point, we provided detailed pictures as to why the property was not habitable. There was mold, there was stuff that was unclean, there were cracks in the foundation, those types of things. We provided detailed pictures so that we had a fair argument. And Airbnb stepped in, which again is why I say don't do anything off the Airbnb platform, because they are pretty good about stepping in when the listing does not match what you were expecting. But to be honest, if he didn't say that far cry point, and I'm convinced, I don't know if we would have got our money back. But they knew they were bogus for that property. I was bogus for booking it. I was bogus for booking the original property. So this is how it cost me the loss of the first property, paying people their money back, booking a new hotel, and booking the new property. And that's how it totaled up to $6,500. I was sick. So 3 to 4 things to check for again is don't leave the booking site that you're using, especially if you're using Airbnb. Do not wire anyone any money. Triple check for the hotel. Now I'd probably call Hilton just to make sure. I still don't know why it didn't pop up on my search. But always check with your hotel that you have a point system set up if they have a location there, because they're going to be your best resource. They're going to look out for you as their member, their customer. And, in situations like this, the hotel, I think, was a better option. I'm not against Airbnb. I know there's some discourse about people who are like, I don't do Airbnb. I think it depends on where you're going. Honestly, and I always read the reviews. If there's at least 3 or 4 not good reviews, I would just stay away from the property. And I know I always check the time frame as well, if it was in the last year especially, because if it was maybe 3 years ago and then the reviews are better, they've probably fixed the issues. But those are some things, some red flags to listen to and not ignore, especially when you are budget traveling. So things that I do differently now is I definitely travel with people in my price point. I think that clears up a lot of the headaches. I also, if it's a larger group, especially with people I've never traveled with before, I definitely book hotels and everyone is responsible for booking their own room. If it's in the same hotel, if it's in the same area, I think it just puts less pressure on trip planners specifically, especially if you are the trip planner in your group. I know how stressful it is, and especially for travel advisors, I think this is something that just takes the weight off of any one particular person because everyone's responsible for their own room. Tomorrow I'm going to do part 2 where I actually talk about the itinerary for all 3 countries, the logistics, things I did, how much it costs, so that if you're planning a trip to Portugal, Spain, Morocco, you want to do all 3 like me, you want to do one at a time, whatever. I hope this is helpful to you to not get scammed, and also follow if you are interested in more of my travel experiences. I'm posting the actual itinerary, things I did, how much it costs, so that if you're planning a trip, you can use this as a guide. And if you are planning a trip, if you are the travel planner of your group and you're the type A, definitely send this video to someone you know so that they don't get scammed the same way I did and they listen and avoid the red flags.